Was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 55-year-old Texas resident Mark Middleton sent a message to someone on December 15th. This was of 2020. And he predicted a quote-unquote shit show. And he said in part, quote, "We will have to either have a bloody civil war or Texas will need to secede from the Union." And then in the lead up to January 6th, Middleton and his wife discussed which weapons that they plan to take to D.C. His wife warned that a gun would result in a felony, but she wrote, quote, "I don't go anywhere planning to be a sitting duck. I carry a gun on my hip every day, so I bought mace, darts, and a taser that I'm having driven in so that I can carry it on the march." So she had someone else drive it in, and then they flew in. And Mark later advised someone else, quote, "We got our mace stun gun at Cabela's, but you could go to any gun store and buy them. Stun gun and mace is legal in checked bags." So Middleton and his wife traveled to D.C. They traveled in on the 5th, and they posed for pictures in front of fencing surrounding the Capitol that day, the day before. All of these pictures showed very conspicuous area closed signs. So then they moved to the other side of the building, and Mark took photos of more fencing and more barricades that also contained area closed signs. So on January 6th, Middleton and his wife were seen entering the restricted Capitol grounds. This was shortly after the initial breach at Peace Circle. And a short time later, the Middletons maneuvered to the front of a police line, and they stood across the barricades from officers. Within minutes, the barricades were starting to come apart because people were pulling them apart. And Middleton and his wife braced themselves and resisted the officers' attempts to reestablish the line. And then Middleton and his wife threw their full body weight into the barricades. And the prosecutor said Mark Middleton, quote, "took a wide stance and pushed with the full force of his body to maximize the amount of force that he was applying to the barricades." After repeated orders to move back and to release the barricades, an officer finally struck the barricade with his baton, but Middleton just yelled at the officer, "Fuck you." So one officer with the initials TT, he yelled for his fellow officers to, quote, "snatch him," meaning take Mark Middleton. So the officer, TT, he reached for Middleton himself, but when Middleton moved out of the way, the officer made contact with Middleton's wife, who then turned around and assaulted the officer. She struck him multiple times. So as she was striking him with one hand, she and Middleton were holding on to the officer's arms with her other hand, and both of the Middletons were trying to pull him over the barricades. So another officer saw what was going down. He tries to intervene. And then after the Middletons ignored his orders to let go of Officer TT, Officer RC struck the Middletons' arms with his baton. So Mark Middleton then took a flagpole that he was carrying, and he struck Officer RC in the head. So this is while his wife continued her assault and scratched up the other officer's face. So eventually, Officer TT sprayed the Middletons with chemicals, and then that's when they finally stopped and they left that immediate area, but they remained on the Capitol grounds for some time after that. So while they were still within the restricted grounds, Middleton recorded a video and he posted it on Facebook. And in this video, he said, quote, "We are on the front lines. We helped push down the barriers. Jaleese and I got pepper sprayed, clubbed, and tear gassed. We had to retreat, but more patriots pushed forward. They're taking back our house. They've got the giant flag up on the upper terrace, up there, No more fooling around. Jaleese and I got to go back to the hotel and try to recoup and change, get dry clothes on, make America great again. Freedom. So, following the Capitol attack, Middleton boasted about his crimes. He talked about future violence. And in one message, Middleton said he and his wife, quote, helped break down the barriers and push the cops back. Then in another text exchange, Middleton told a friend to, quote, get ready because, quote, it's about time to do some patriot shit. So Middleton was arrested on April 21st of 2021, and in a superseding indictment, he was charged with 2 counts of assaulting officers, civil disorder, obstructing an official proceeding, entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and 2 counts of physical violence. Middleton refused a plea deal. He opted for a jury trial, and in February of 2024, he was found guilty on all counts. As you all know, the Supreme Court made a jackass move. They decided that the obstruction charge, by and large, doesn't apply to these January 6 cases. So the government agreed to drop that one conviction, but Middleton was still facing a combined 25 years in prison, over 12 years of probation, and more than $1 million in fines. The government, however, requested 7.5 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution, and they asked for a fine, but they didn't specify an amount. They said, the court can decide. So the prosecutor pointed out, Middleton has shown no remorse for his crimes. He repeatedly lied during his testimony during the trial, and even since his conviction, Middleton has continued to spread misinformation about what happened on January 6th and about his own actions, of course. In April of this year, for example, Middleton went on some right-wing show and he claimed, quote, we didn't know this at the time, and most of your listeners don't, but it is assaulting federal police officers if you have your back to them praying and they come up and start beating you with clubs and you turn around to shield yourself from the club strikes. Yeah, because that's what happened. So U.S. District Judge Rudolph Moss presided over Middleton's case, and when all was said and done, he sentenced Middleton to 30 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in fines. Unfortunately, the judge refused the prosecutor's request to have Middleton taken into custody immediately, so he was allowed to self-surrender at a later date. Total and complete bullshit, especially when you consider the lies that he has told. Oh, I was just praying. I just had my back turned and I was praying and I was beaten with batons for no reason. And then I get charged with assault. Oh my God, just for that one alone, he should have gotten 10 years. So Judge Moss has continually just erred on the weak side. So I was not surprised by this, but completely pathetic, insulting, especially for his refusal to send this man to prison right away. Just sickening. Anyway, let's hope he gets some time behind bars before Donald Trump pardons him. All right, I will let you know. I'll keep you posted on that. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.